bookish world has a plethora of acronyms in it, including things like DNF, TBR, MC, and more. You may have seen this word before, but do you know what it means? But before we get started, hi, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. I make writing and bookish content here on YouTube. So in a prior video, I talked about beta readers and what they are and how they are so important to an author on their publishing journey. So for today's video, I will be talking about ARC readers, ARC copies, and ARC book reviews. If you missed my beta readers video and you want to learn about those more, I will have that linked up in the cards and in the description below. So ARC or ARC stands for Advanced Reader Copies or Advanced Review Copies. This is a copy of a book that is pretty much ready to be published. It's been edited, formatted, possibly even printed for the author to have their own copies to make sure that they're ready for printing. And now we're just waiting and gearing up for the release date. These books are specifically to be sent to reviewers in order to drum up excitement around a book release. Similarly to beta readers, ARC readers are not paid for their effort. Their payment is to read the book early and sometimes receive a free physical copy of the book. Also, ARC readers are more meant to review the book, and it's not super ethical to pay reviewers, so just bear that in mind. I feel like there's a lot of confusion around what an ARC reader does versus a beta reader versus an editor, so I just want to talk about that really quick. A beta reader is going to be someone who reads your book after your first draft, probably prior to you hiring an editor for your book. They normally give you constructive feedback about your world building, the characters, the length of the book, very broad, big suggestions and critiques of the story. An editor is going to be someone that you pay to do developmental editing on your book, which is like getting into the nitty-gritty of your plot and your characters. They can do proofreading of your book. They can do copy edits of your book. There's a lot that editors do. That's probably going to be a whole video in and of itself. Then you have ARC readers, and this comes after the editing process, as I kind of said before, and prior to release. And they are meant to review the book. So they're not going to be sending you an email back with criticisms on the world building or the characters or changing the plot in any way. They're just going to be reading the book, hopefully enjoying the book, and then talking about it on their social media. Sometimes ARC readers will find spelling or grammatical errors that haven't been caught yet by someone else, or just maybe haven't been fixed in the edition that they're reading. And that is always more than welcome, I think, to hear back from for an author, but that is not the main purpose of an ARC reader. Often, though, if there are tons of grammatical or spelling errors, this will impact their review, so it's really important to have good proofreading done before you send out ARCs to readers. Also, I don't know about anyone else, but sometimes having tons of typos and stuff like that actually makes it really hard to read a book. So I think it's just important that your book is in really good shape before you're sending it to them, but it's not their job to find those errors and fix them for you. What happens is you normally send your ARC to a reader a few weeks before publication, sometimes like 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere probably in that range. And you want to give them enough time to read your book, process it, and review it. We all have busy lives, but normally before that, things are going to get forgotten about, and too late, they're not going to be able to finish your book in time to promote it before the release. It's not always a physical copy that you send ARC readers. I know I have received almost all of my ARC books to review as ebooks, so I have no issue with that. Some people, I guess if they're really sought after promoters of books, maybe they'll prefer physical copies. That's going to be up to the person. But e-copies are great, and like sites like NetGalley only do e-copies and ebooks, so like that's definitely a standard across the board from my understanding. So don't worry about having physical copies to send out if that is not where you're at financially or in just your ability to do that. Printing is also like super expensive, and shipping and everything. And like I understand, and most people understand that that's not in everybody's budget. But if you're doing like a big book promotion and you're sending like packages to promote your book and everything, like PR packages to influencers or anything like that, having a physical copy probably in your best interest to go with all of that. So it's just going to depend on your marketing budget and what kind of money you have to put into sending out those kinds of things to people. First-time authors, especially if they don't have a huge budget or they're an indie author, a lot of the times it's just going to be sending out ebooks and just drumming up some excitement and having some people read and talk about your book. And that is more than fine enough, especially when you're starting out. So then what happens is after the reader reads your book, they hopefully will review it on Goodreads or their chosen book review app, as well as potentially Amazon Amazon and other websites. Hopefully they also talk about it on their social media, posting pictures with your book or of your book and talking about the review. I know I myself have several videos here on my YouTube talking about ARC books that I have reviewed. I will have those linked down below if you would like an example of what that looks like. You normally want around 20 or more ARC readers because you just have to expect that not everyone is going to be able to review your book. Life happens, time gets in the way, people forget things, so you can't just expect everyone to do it, but you want to have a good chunk of people doing it. So you're probably looking at 20. I've seen authors talk about having like up to 100 ARC readers. So it's just really going to depend on your audience and like how many people you get interested in reading your book. It's also good to remember that you can't really force anyone to give you a review, and also the review space is not really meant for authors anyway, so like once people submit their reviews and everything, it's not really your place to question them, and we want readers to be honest about our books. So and we can't force them to write anything, like we're not paying them, we have no obligation to us. I saw recently like an author had like a contract with an ARC reader. That is by no means the standard, and I think they've had a lot of backlash about that. Like that's not really the situation here. It's just providing a free book in the hopes that they leave you an honest review. And it's like a win-win situation for a lot of people. And a lot of people love writing book reviews. So you just want to make sure that you find the right people who want to do those things. If you want to become an ARC reader, if you're a reader who wants to review books for free, there are lots of sites that you can sign up for. I know NetGalley is probably the biggest one that most people know about. It's used by lots of traditional publishers. You basically sign up, and once your account is approved and verified, you can request to ARC read any of the books on their website, and then the publisher has to approve it, and then you get a ebook copy of the book, and then you review it, and then there you go. That's kind of just like how the process is. It is good to note that the publishers have to approve the people, and they only have so many ARCs to give. So you're not going to be able to read every book that you want to read probably on NetGalley, and that's just an important note. You can also join Facebook groups where they are specifically about ARC reading and readers reading books for authors. They go by genre, they can go by, I don't even know, there's like a million out there. Like I would check Facebook, check the groups. They're very active. It's amazing. Like Facebook, we always talk about is like for the grandparents and stuff now, and it's like, it's still thriving in terms of like the writing community stuff. It's insane. Another really great way to do it is to follow indie authors and authors who are going to be posting these kinds of things. I know for me, I posted on my Instagram that I was looking for ARC readers, and I had a sign up form for people to sign up with. So people were able to sign up to read my books that way. I don't know how popular that is to do, but I have seen a lot of other people do it. People post on TikTok about it. So like there's ways that you can find it. Just be on the lookout and engage with the authors. Sometimes you can even DM them or like email them if they have their email and be like, hey, do you have an ARC sign-up sheet? Because I'd love to read some of your books. Like authors are usually so overjoyed that people want to read their work. Like you reaching out to them will make their day. So it never hurts to ask. You can just like shoot them an email and there you go. So the reason ARCs are so important is because of reviews. Reviews are like so important when it comes to people finding your book, because how often do you see a book and it has like no reviews on it, and you don't even, you don't know if anyone even thinks it's any good. And, we want to hear other people's opinions on books before we read it. That's why like on every book cover, they have quotes of other authors or newspaper publishers who have like critiqued the book. And that's like, though it says like brilliant, stunning on the cover, stuff like that. It's really important. But for indie authors especially, because Amazon will not start promoting your book until you have 50 reviews on their website. So getting 50 reviews, really tough, by the way. That's a lot of reviews, and it takes a lot of time and energy to get that many reviews. But it does make a huge difference in people seeing your book or not on their website, or having it promoted to them when people are searching on Amazon for books and stuff like that. So it's just important to have reviews. Also, just like exposure to it, like people posting about your book on social media, having that exposure, people are going to become interested in your book. So like it's really a great way to market your book, and it drums up a lot of excitement around the release date. Hopefully people are sharing pictures and their thoughts on your book, and it's just like other readers will get excited about it because they trust that person's thoughts and reviews, and then they'll be like, wow, great, I should get that book. That's really what it's about, and it's just about getting excitement and getting your book out there to people. You can find ARC readers kind of everywhere. I mentioned a few things before. You can go on Facebook and find readers groups that are specifically for reading ARCs. I have personally been emailed to review books before because I had my email accessible for people to email me if they wanted me to read their books for them. However, not everyone has that, nor do they want to be solicited by authors directly in their inbox. So sometimes they'll be like, hey, DM me if you want me to read your ARCs and stuff like that. Other times it's like not such a great idea. So kind of like test the waters. Make sure that when you're sending it to them, you tell them what your book is about, because why would they want to read something if they don't even know if it's something that they're interested in? And also, it would be good to do your research on what they read before sending it to them. You don't want to send someone a romance book if all they read is horror. So stuff like that. Make sure it's a reader who's going to want to read your book and that like you're doing it in an appropriate way. You can also pay to put your book on NetGalley. I don't know the specifics of it, and I have not done this, but I did watch a video of another author who did, and I'm going to have that in the description below for you to watch. She kind of breaks it down really well, how all of it worked, how much she paid, like what the process was, did it pay off for her? So I'm just going to let her tell her story. Obviously, not everyone has the budget to pay to have their book up on a place like NetGalley, so that's not always the most viable option for people. But it is an option to get a lot of readers to read your book. There's also other websites like Booksprout, but again, I'm not super familiar with that yet, so I want to familiarize myself with that before I talk about it. But the other thing you can do is just post about your book and post that you are looking for ARC readers. Tell people like, hey, you want to read my book for free? If you have a newsletter, send out an email to the people on your newsletter, post on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all these places. Let people know that you are looking for people to read your book for free in exchange for an honest review. If you don't have a super wide online presence, you can ask friends and family, but be warned that Amazon doesn't really love when family and friends review your book on them, and I think sometimes they delete them. The last thing you'll kind of need to figure out is how you're going to send it to them. If you're going to print your book and ship it to them or email it to them, how are you going to get their email? I think I did like a Google form for people who wanted to ARC read my book, and they provided me with an email. If you're sending physical copies, you'll need to see how you're going to get the addresses. When I was sent a physical copy, they sent it to me through Amazon, so I'm not 100% sure on the printing aspect of it, but a lot of people, like I said, just do email with the PDF or ebook file. And then after you send them the initial email with all of the information and a couple weeks have gone by, you can remind them when your publication day is coming up and that they should post their reviews on or around that date. I wouldn't do this too heavy-handedly. I wouldn't be emailing them every day, but you can nudge them and give them a reminder towards the publication day if you want. When I email my ARC readers, I always emphasize that they are not required to review my book, but it is like a huge help to me and my book success. I also mentioned that I want them to be honest with my work, that I will not be judging or hurt if they don't love my book. They can review the book honestly. And then I always make sure to thank their time. Sometimes it takes hours to read a book and then write a review, like they're taking time out of their lives and their day to do this. So I always make sure to thank them for their time and for helping me out, because they're doing me a big favor. And that's it. If you have any more questions about ARC readers or how they can help you in your publishing journey, let me know in the comments below and I'll get back to you. I hope you found this video informative and helpful for you on your publishing journey. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content. Thank you so much as always for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.